Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Today's topic, believe it or not, is gratitude. Isn't that clever? Thought of that myself. We're going to reflect on that, but first, I'd like to start with a few moments of meditation. Please join me. Mhm. 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 I've come to learn over time that gratitude is fundamentally important on the spiritual path. When I was younger, maybe at first I would have thought gratitude was a bit of a mushy emotion or behavior, act. Being grateful is almost like bowing down or sublimating yourself to someone else or to something. And it seemed maybe a little just weak or squishy until I started learning more about it and actually putting it into practice. And I saw doors and opportunities open in my life that I feel were a little bit pinned to that practice. The feeling of gratitude when you visualize what you're grateful for a roof over my head, I'm grateful for this wonderful meal, grateful for my family, for my friends, grateful to be able to do these satsangs with you, grateful for a nice gift, grateful for a beautiful day, all the things that we can have gratitude for. When you practice that, I think mechanically what's happening is your heart, this torus field of your heart is opening, this portal. And you're priming it to move into the dimension that you're fixating on, thinking about, feeling. So if you're bitter and contracted and angry about the world, I hate all those people. Those loathsome people doing all that nasty stuff. My heart is kind of cracked. Can't you feel it? It's kind of feeling cranky and contracted and blocked up. So wherever I go, people will be behaving like that. Events will be unfolding like that. The world will be shaping up like that. If my heart is open in gratitude, sure, it's a little bit more of a defenseless position, you know. You don't need to. What are you protecting yourself from? Everything you see is only yourself. Everything you see is only God. So if I practice gratitude and walk out into the world with that same feeling, I attract more of that abundance, good feeling, bono me, all things beneficial. If I walk around collecting grievances, what am I going to find? Grievances. Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's crummy. That's bad. Geez, this whole place is in bad shape. It's part of the Eastern practice of neti, neti. Not this, not this. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. Trying not to conflate myself with the things of the world. And, you know, and in doing so, maybe practice non-attachment. I think it's a good exercise, but negating, not this, not this, not this. That's what a lot of people do, whether it's a spiritual practice or not. They're used to going around finding out what's wrong, picking a fight with the world, picking a fight with God. Guess who's going to win that one? After a while, though, in the spiritual practice, neti gives way to eti. This and this and this. Yes, this. Yes, this. Everything I see is myself. From the other people in the world to the animals and trees and living things to the non-living stuff, objects, they're me too. They're made out of the same substance, aren't they? Ones and zeros in the matrix, in this big simulation of ours. They're conscious. They flow with the same patterns of consciousness If not, how would synchronicity and manifestation practice work? Those things do work. They are real. You might have to practice it if you don't believe in them. You have to practice to see evidence for yourself. But that's how we roll. That works. You attract what you think about, what you feel, what you dream about. You attract it. Those are the instructions that we program in our imagination, and that's what we attract, isn't it? A big secret. So this heart is a magnetic field, attracting whatever I dwell on, whatever I think about and meditate on. If I'm meditating on gratitude, that's a good feeling about the world, isn't it? I don't care what my circumstances are, if I'm living in poverty or if I'm living in opulence. There's something to look around at and go, wow, I'm grateful for that. Grateful I woke up. That's one thing every one of you and every one of us can do right now. Because at some point you woke up this morning, didn't you? And if you've been on a bender and not sleeping at all, you woke up at some point, I can pretty much guarantee you woke up and you're alive now. The evidence is, I'm telling you, you're alive. It's a good feeling about what is. It's a good feeling about the present moment. That present moment is durable. It's always here, isn't it? That's never going to change. Tomorrow at this time, it'll be the present moment. A year and a decade from now, it'll be the present moment. So my job is to tune myself up to delight and happiness and gratitude and satisfaction in the present. Once that's opened up, that bandwidth is open. My heart is open. I can throw anything in there. And it will come true. I found this from experience. This is not book knowledge. This is real life knowledge. Maybe it's a thing I want. Well, I want a new Range Rover. Relatively recent year Range Rover. Let's make it black, black on black on black. Black rims, black outside, black inside. Leather interior, 8-cylinder. I don't like the 6-cylinder. Just give it all the instructions. Feel the heart of gratitude. Don't think, I'm grateful. Feel, I'm grateful. And drive that Range Rover right into your heart. Drive right in there. Beep, beep, beep. Park it right in your heart. I think you're going to find when you wake up next week or next month, pretty soon it's going to be there. It doesn't have to be a Range Rover, certainly. Any car you like. Dodge Dart, Geostorm, those are nice. A Hyundai, those are getting pretty good too. I don't care what it is. That's your business, you know, whatever car you like. I don't have to trot out a whole list of makes and models that I can think of. You can do that. But I think that practically speaking, it has to be close enough to be realizable in your own belief in yourself. If you go trying to fly a private jet into your heart and say, next week I'm going to own a private jet, G something thousand, whatever they're called, fly it right in here. I think for most of us, at least who grew up, you know, middle class or lower, that might seem unattainable. So even if you try to talk yourself into it, you're the back of your mind, you're going to be going, that is completely unattainable. I don't care what sort of gratitude practice or the secret or anything that I try to do, it's not coming in. It would actually, but you have to believe it. I think you have to have confidence. So start off a little smaller. You're not ready for the Jeff Bezos style yacht that has the giant mast that they have to deconstruct a bridge to get through. Maybe catamaran. Those are attainable. Give me a little sailboat, tiny little sailboat. Rowboat. There's one. That's an easy one. Pray for a rowboat. Open my heart. Let the rowboat sail on in. Float into my heart and dock right here. Doesn't have to cost too much. What are they? A couple $100,000? I don't know. Do that one. That's an easy one. That'll come pretty soon. That'll come in a day or two or a week for you. So that's just manifesting stuff and things. How about at home? Maybe you haven't been a homeowner. Maybe you've been a renter all your life and you want a place of your own, a room of one's own. You have to feel it. Can't just think about it. I want a house. Awesome. Because that's the instructions. I want a house. That's your present moment. That will always stay your present moment, won't it? Tomorrow you'll wake up and go, I want a house. Next week it'll be, I want a house. That's what you're programming. You don't have to lie to yourself. Oh, I have a beautiful house. Not really. I mean, I have a wonderful, marvelous this, that, and the other thing. Just visualize it. Feel what it's like to be there. It's not the thing itself. It's how you make it, how it makes you feel, correct? What neighborhood is it in? What does it look like? Maybe it's on your vision board. Maybe it's a house in your neighborhood or elsewhere that you've seen. Golly, I wish I could live there. Go live there in your imagination. Walk up to the front door, open it, or drive into the garage. Click the old garage door opener, drive in. That's even better. You don't have to go up to your front door and unlock it. Go in the back way because you're the owner. Walk into that beautiful house. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What's the air quality? Is there music playing? No music playing? Go over and put some on. You can listen to whatever you want. Anything, any song you can think of. Anything you can think of. Look it up on your iPhone, pull up Spotify, iTunes, whatever, put the song on, beam it over to your place. Sit down on your couch. Maybe you've got a beautiful cloud sectional from RH, Restoration Hardware, in Dove color, light gray. Sit down on it. Oh. Maybe one of your staff brings over a nice cup of hot tea to greet you because they know that's what you like at this hour, nice green tea. They greet you kindly and set that in front of you. You ask how their day has been. They tell you a little bit about what's going on with their family, what they did that day. Share a moment. Reach down and blow into that tea, cool it down a little bit, take a little sip, look around. Wow, a lot of space. More space than I'm used to. Not exaggeratedly, absurd. 50-foot ceilings and 75 rooms. Maybe you need that. That's your business. Something comfortable, something to scale. Something that feels cozy, something that feels like you. What kind of view is out there? Put that teacup down and stand up and go over and look at the view. Does it overlook the Hollywood Hills? Is it up on the top of a holy mountain somewhere? Is there a view of the ocean? Or just your own private forest? You own all that land. It's yours. Well, you're a caretaker for it now. It's in your name. We can't really own land, can we? Can't really own anything. You can't take it with you. Look out and survey all that land that's yours. In the past, maybe you would have had to squeeze yourself into a little corner of somebody else's house and rent a room or half a room, a quarter of a room, put up a sheet. It happens, especially in big cities that are expensive. Think about all those times of being encroached on, not having a sense of place and home, not having a sense of security and comfort. Now you got it. Feel that. You feel it getting more real? Everything, look around you right now. Look around your room. You see everything in there. You say, oh, that's just imaginary. This is never going to happen. That's just my imagination. Yeah, so was everything in your room. Started out as a thought, didn't it? Started out as a thought in the manufacturer's mind, product designer, dreamed up a good thing to make. Eames lounge chair with walnut plywood and black leather. Starting to see a theme emerge. The one with the ottoman, kickback 50s style. That started out as a really delightful, beautiful idea in a designer's mind. Charles and Ray Eames, I think it was. And then the manufacturers made it and eventually brought it to you. Now it's sitting in your room. It started out as your idea. You brought it into the room, didn't you? Thought, I want to need a chair to sit down in. That's one thing I'll need. Everything starts as a thought, moves into an intention, and then gets enacted in the world. So this is not dreamy, pie in the sky, rose-colored glasses philosophy. This is the way things work. This is the mechanics of it. So look around that house. Who's there with you? Are you married? Do you have the partner of your dreams? This is going one step further. This is not just the house. This is the life now. Maybe you thought you would never meet anybody who would understand you, who could bear living with you without getting annoyed and running off in disgust and horror. You think, well, I'm just not meant for other people. I'm meant to be alone. Well, what if a person did show up? You say, oh, well, they're not going to get along with me. They're not going to like me. I'm probably not going to like them. They're going to annoy me. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what if they didn't? What if it just felt real, natural and real and nice? What if it just felt easy? And they come inside from the pool, drying their hair, give you a little kiss on the cheek. I'm full of love. They're happy to see you. This is the life you're building together. Maybe it's the winter time, and as it is in my neck of the woods, and you want to make a nice fire that night. Make a fire. Your partner's making some dinner for you. It smells really good. Something with olive oil and garlic cooking. And your friends are coming over later for dinner, little dinner party. You say, oh, I hate having people over because it's just too much. It's too much chaos and too much expectation and attachment, and everybody's pantomiming and having to not be themselves. Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what if it was good? What if it was nice? What if you loved them? A couple friend who comes over. Is that what they're called? Couple friends, friend couple? Friends-in-law? They come over and everybody's delighted to see each other. Catch up on stories, sit around the fire a little bit, have some dinner. That whole time you're feeling your heart in gratitude, because that's the feeling you would have there. You'd be like, wow, this is cool. I can't believe this is what I've got. Dream car, dream house, dream partner, dream friends, dream fire, dream dinner. It's a dream now. It could be real later. Soon later. So now that that bandwidth is open, that torus field is open, that portal, that vortex of your heart, everything you put in there will come true. Maybe in short order. When you're sitting down to dinner, not just Thanksgiving dinner, anytime you're sitting down to eat by yourself, in the company of someone else, in a crowded space in public, by yourself at home, doesn't matter. When you're sitting down to eat, look at that food for a minute. Don't just wolf it down, tuck in and get the job done, move on to the next thing. Take a moment and be grateful. When people used to say grace over food when I was a kid, I didn't really get it. I thought it was kind of stupid. They would close their eyes and act all serious and say all these things, and I would be kind of like looking at my eye going, ugh. I mean, for one thing, I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like to be walking in lockstep with everybody. You guys do what you want. I'll do what I want. That's how I always felt. So I always thought I was, I don't want to say above it, but I just didn't get it, didn't like it, didn't care for it. Thought it was a hooey. But what I learned later through my teacher and through the teachings of people like Masaru Emoto, the intention that you put on something, the words you say over it, actually reconfigure the pranic field, the energy of that thing, which is reconfiguring the whole beingness of it. With Emoto's structured water, something as an invocation as simple as I love you takes this water field, this water electrical field. A drop is usually sort of jagged if you look at it under a microscope. My teacher did the computer program that allows you to look at that under a microscope and see the pranic field. Especially water in a city, water is very susceptible to consciousness, so it can be in a confused state if it's surrounded by confused people, incoherence, agitation, anger. All you have to say is, I love you. And then it becomes this perfect crystalline snowflake kind of look. All these little lightning bolts shooting out equidistant. That's coherence. That's a happy water droplet. Most of you is water, most of me is water. Everything that we are is equally susceptible to that. So if you also say, I hate you to the water, it's going to get into an ugly condition pretty quick. If you say, I love you to the food, thank you to the food, it becomes more healthy. it becomes more tasty. It absorbs into the system as energy more efficiently. And you don't have digestive problems. A lot of times people get food poisoning and they wonder why that is. It's because the cook was angry and agitated when they're making it, grinding on something. Dirty low down, so-and-so, and flipping burgers, flipping. Short order cook, cracking eggs, throwing some bacon on there while they're grinding on this or that person they have a problem with. All of that incoherence, dread, anger, the food takes on. If you eat that food, it might make you sick. It's not just foodborne illness and bacteria and things like that. It's the intention under which it was made. So if you eat food at an ashram or a holy site or at a Sunday potluck at your church, people come in there with a lot of love, bringing this stuff in. They made it with love. They're sharing it with love. It'll taste better. You'll be like, wow, that's good. Yummy. Who made the tuna noodle casserole? That's good stuff, that tuna noodle casserole. Who made the fruit salad? I didn't realize those berries were in season. Boysenberries? Is that what that is? So every time you sit down to eat, that's a really great time to make sure that you structure that food correctly to come into the system in a way that's harmonious and conducive to high vibration spiritual life. Spiritual life is no different than other life. It's just how we feel about the world, how we're connected, the energy. That's all spirituality is. Your connection to a higher power. You say, oh, well, I don't have a higher power. I'm the highest power. Okay, if you believe that, roll with it, because you are the highest power. You and God are inseparable. You can't divide infinity by 2. You can't do infinity minus 1. It's a mathematical impossibility. As we've said before on this channel, you can't escape God. You could try to run away from him, but he'll never let you go, because there's nothing outside of him. And if he's infinity and you're infinity within that, there's nothing outside of you. If he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning, middle, and end, past, present, and future, so are you. When you have gratitude to the people around you, they behave differently as well, don't they? They respond to that. People liked being liked. People love being loved. People want to be wanted. If you can look at them, not like, I'm thankful that you gave me this or that. It's not about that. I'm grateful to be in your presence, as I am grateful to be in your presence right now. I don't know how many people are watching this currently. I don't know how many people are going to watch it in the future. But everybody who will ever see this video is looking at me right now on a quantum level. We're in communion together, and I'm grateful for you being here with me. Thank you. Grateful for you. And they say in the Bible, whenever 2 or more are gathered in his name. His doesn't have to be Jesus, doesn't have to be God, doesn't have to be Muhammad or Ramana Maharshi or Anandamayi Ma or any religious figure or non-religious figure. It doesn't have to be anybody in particular. Whenever 2 or more are gathered in his name, that high being that informs this whole life, that made this whole magical mystery tour happen. When 2 or more are gathered in his name, and we're gathered in his name right now, and it's Thanksgiving. We're sharing hearth and home with our dearest and nearest. And if it's just you, you're riding solo today, join me, because so am I. It's so quiet. I live on the outskirts of a little town in the west of the United States. There's usually cars, trucks rumbling around, diesel trucks, dogs barking, people talking, heavy equipment backing up, any number of things. Right now, nice thing about big holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the rest, 7:30 in the morning where I'm at, ain't nothing out there. Everybody's inside. Hopefully looking around at everything that they're grateful for. And, you know, when I do that, it's not just about me. I think about the other people. You know, those 8 billion people. I hope they woke up feeling loved. I hope they wake up this morning feeling wanted and like they're doing something cool in the world. There's value to their life. I hope they got fun plans coming up, if that's what they like to do. If they're more of a monk or a hermit or a nun, I hope they have some nice meditation, contemplative time coming up and communion with God. I hope they get their fill when they sit down to eat. That's what it's about, right? It's about stuffing, turkey and stuffing yourself. Get that tryptophan haze happening. Watch a little football. Sink into the nether realms of too much comfort, too much happiness, too much ease. Sink back into the couch. Have a spirited argument with one of your family members who's on the opposite end of the spectrum politically from you. Hash out old grievances. Go at it. It's all part of it. What's really important to me, and I've actually only understood this sort of lately, it's not in the practice of gratitude, which is, as I have tried to make the case, and as many have made the case before me, practice of gratitude is an important one. It's important to be grateful for what you're grateful for, but what about the rest? I'm grateful for all the boons and the good luck and all the great things that have happened to me. Great, but what about all the suffering? What about all the missed opportunities? And times you were when the chips were really down and you were just, your face was down on the ground, baking and basting in your own misery. What about those times? Why aren't you grateful for them? They're actually the times that brought you here. If you're poised on the edge of self-realization, or if you've crossed over the other side and you're self-realized, self-actualized, enlightened, or if that's not your ambition, if you're just kind of far along and you got this living thing down pretty good and you're doing all right at it, It's not because of the easy times, it's because of the hard times, isn't it? We've talked about that before. You don't get good at sports without playing a really good opponent. You don't get good at a craft without struggling through some adversity and failures. You don't become a good entrepreneur generally. Haven't heard of anybody who does it first time out of the chute. You're going to be taking a lot of lumps. You're going to be having a lot of failures. It's not just that you got around those failures. Good. That's convenient. It's that those failures have become your character. The obstacles are the path. It's not that you just shucked and jived and dodged around them. The obstacles became the path. That's what propelled you forward. So why not be grateful for that? I'm grateful for the times that I was at death's door, and in my case, crossed over to the other side. I'm grateful for the times that I walked around in absolute confusion and misery at my existence. I'm grateful for the times that I felt like just the lowest cockroach. And all I saw in the world was like the Jim Morrison, like the Doors song, when you're a stranger, people are ugly when you're alone. Grateful for that time that I was the stranger. Still am in some ways, stranger in a strange land. Still kind of getting my bearings. It's been almost 50 years. You see this behind me? It's not a Zoom backdrop. That's where I actually am. That's where I came from. So I'm grateful for the times that I was like, get me out of this joint. I'm ready to get up out of here. When you're sitting in your room and you have a handgun in this hand and a pillow in this hand, and you're trying to cant your head in the right direction so that you don't blow your brains all the way out into the room so that the cleaning staff doesn't have to come in and contend with that. Been there. When you look all through your past experience and think of one place that you'd like to have your body buried or your ashes strewn, and you can't think of a single place that has been home. I've been there. If you've ever been on the edge of taking your life, you're in good company with me. There's been any number of times I have wanted to check out and just been brought right up to the edge. God has been gracious enough to just grind me right on the edge of that for days, weeks, months at a time. And nothing you do seems to work. Okay, I'm going to surrender. You still get beat up, pummeled, splayed open, torn apart, rent asunder. I want to surrender more. It still keeps happening. I'm going to surrender more. It keeps happening. Spread out, like pizza dough, farther and farther into the edges. If I didn't think there was any more room for any more suffering in this vehicle. I didn't think there was any more room for it. And I woke up the next day and it was more. And I woke up the next day and it was more. I didn't think I could bear it 1 minute further, and I bore it for another hour and day and year and decade. Life has been really hard. If you feel that way, you're not alone. You're in good company today. So I look around and I'm grateful for those times, because suffering is grace. It's because of that extraordinary darkness that I was able to plumb the depths of this lived experience, find out what it is, embody that I was able to reach the highest heights, feel that, understand that, and do that yoga pose. I think it's called Warrior One. One hand up to the sky, one down to the earth, one grounding, one reaching for the stars. So when I practice gratitude, I don't pick winners and losers anymore. I'm grateful for this, that, the other thing, and another thing. No, I don't even say I'm grateful for the tears. I'm grateful for the misery. I'm grateful for the heartache, because that's picking winners and losers too. I'm grateful for everything, everything I've ever known, everyone I've ever met, as dastardly and terrible as they may have appeared at the moment. No matter what horrendous things they might have done to me or to themselves or to the world, I'm grateful for every event. I'm grateful for every blade of grass and bird pecking at my window. It's like Steve Martin said in Let's Get Small. You ever hear that album? Great record album, comedy album, stand up. A lot of people are just grinding on the bad stuff. Oh, death and grief and sorrow and murder. I'm grateful for those people too, because they taught me how to love someone who's in a bad way, without trying to change them, without trying to talk them into something, without anything other than just, hey man, hey lady, I'm present for you. And even if I'm not present for them, just to accept them. It was always hard for me. I don't like it when people prayed for what they don't want. I call it praying for what you don't want. People who are grinding on issues they have with the world, this repeating channel of negative events. And then they wake up the next day and they're surprised that they run into the same thing again and again. They think it's the world that's out to get them. They don't realize it's them doing it. That made me mad. Stand up and take responsibility. Stop speaking negativity and cursing into the world. You're surprised that you say, F this, F that, SH this, that, the other thing. Cursing, 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 cursing. All those things out in the world are like little animals, pet dogs that you beat. If you beat your pet dog, he's not going to really come up and wag his tail and lick your ankle when he sees you, is he? He's going to cower in a corner. The rest of the world is going to cower in a corner if you do that. And that always bothered me about people. And I've learned to love and accept even that, because when they're chirping like that, it means I still have work to do. Because when I'm in coherence, the world is in coherence. When I'm in love, the world is in love with me, with itself. So if I ever see those people, they're only mirrors of myself. Can't blame them for it. They're just me. There's a burden that needs to be alleviated. There's suffering that needs to be resolved, if that is still happening as I look around. It's just the great cosmic play, and it's all a joke anyway, isn't it? If I can look at that and not take it too seriously and just allow, that's what I'm grateful for. So I've become the tissue of gratitude. Hopefully not in an obnoxious spiritual way. Oh, it's nice to see you. How are you? Would you like to join us for church? Can I interest you in some literature? Gosh, I hope I don't do that. I would like to interest you in some literature. If you'd like to read my new book, I'll put a link in the description. Pardon me, sir or madam, would you like to be saved? I've got some good news. I don't like that. Gosh, I hope I don't do that. I guess I do, though, in my own way. I try to be subtle about it. But I do have good news. It's ever new, it's ever fresh. When you practice gratitude, your life is good. When you don't, it ain't. Even if you die, you should be grateful for that, shouldn't you? Because then you go on to the next thing. Call it heaven, Shambhala, the rainbow body. As my science and reductive atheist agnostic friends might imagine, get put in a pine box, dropped 6 foot under, no more suffering. Wherever you're going, it's a good place to go. Maybe better even than here. But if we can wrench that heaven out of the sky, yank it down, put it here, right here on earth. That's what I'm trying to do. Because it's good up there. Not a lot of problems. Everybody's living their dharma. Everybody's living their destiny. They're just delighted to get up in the morning and charge into the day to go create something beautiful. That's what's happening up in heaven. People get along pretty good. Maybe there's some little squabbles and arguments. That's okay. That's just competition. That's just making you better. That's up in heaven too. Maybe there's a hard day's work with a lot of challenges, fatigue, and the grind of trying to do something beautiful and not having it materialize instantaneously. Just going out and having a good hard day's work, working up a sweat, getting those muscles working. That's up in heaven. And at the end, cast off your troubles and cares and sit down with your loved ones or by yourself, watch something nice on TV, read a little book, play with your dog, relax. That's up in heaven. It's also here. This is heaven. We've gotten there. Some people say it's the ascension from 3D to 5D. Where are you ascending to? Floating off planet, like I am in my Zoom background? Nope. Where are you ascending to? You're ascending to right now. You're ascending to this moment. Be in it with me for a second. Look in my eyes. We're here. Anything you visualize in that space, in that openness of heart, in that presence, anything at all, I don't care what it is. You want it to come true, it will. And in fact, it's already true. This whole timeline, in my estimation, is already laid out. We're just kind of navigating through it. Anything you can ever dream of, you've already got. You thought you were moving toward it, but it's been moving toward you. It wants you just as bad as you want it. Freedom wants you. Discovery wants you. Joy and beauty and all the people who will ever be part of your life. They yearn for your company too. They're finding their way to you, your soulmate, your twin flame. If you don't got them already, they're coming. Wouldn't that be great? As we wrap it up, this Thanksgiving edition of Mindful Mornings, I really want to thank you for joining me. It's great to see you all, although I can't see you visually, I can see you in my heart. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me and keep me company this morning. Let's go on a few minutes of meditation. Think about that dream house. I'll think about it with you. We can sit there together, hang out there, and it's going to be coming true sooner than you might imagine. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I love you. We'll see you soon.